Coming up, the AU men's basketball team is headed to the NCAA tournament for the second consecutive time. American University is feeling the March Madness fever, and students are lining up for tickets today.
And ridership is up in the district, but Metro is facing budget cuts. What will they do to stay profitable? Stay tuned to learn about Metro's new funding plan. District Wire News starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Howie Perlman.
And I'm Sarah Reddington. A government report shows that HIV/AIDS cases reached epidemic levels in Washington, D.C., with 3% of the community affected. Amanda Glensky has more on the administrative and student response at American University.
Washington, D.C. saw a 22% increase in HIV/AIDS over the past 2 years. This first official report on the subject, released by Mayor Adrian Fenty's administration, shows that in 2006 there were 12,248 cases. This number jumped to 15,120 in 2008. At American University in Washington, D.C., health educator Alan Duffy teaches students to protect themselves from sexually transmitted diseases. He says that while students should always be careful, they should remember that this is not an epidemic affecting all parts of the city.
A lot of the statistics that are coming out in DC with high HIV rates, they are mainly in lower socioeconomic status areas, and that's something that's important for students to remember, that this is not an epidemic that affects all of DC. It mainly affects smaller areas.
Duffy says the Wellness Center provides programs that lead students towards making smart choices that will protect them from HIV/AIDS. The center offers programs and literature that give comprehensive sexual education. Despite the large numbers of those affected in DC, AU is not seeing any prevalence of HIV/AIDS on campus. Other STDs are more common.
Other STDs are tending to present in higher numbers, and that tends to be generally reflective of campus populations.
Even though the epidemic is not directly affecting campus, the student response is shock, disappointment, and a little frightened.
I'm really surprised. I thought that we were taking more action and there was more funding going towards this preventative measures for HIV and AIDS.
I had heard that the HIV/AIDS rate in DC was horrendous, much worse than most of the rest of the country, but I had never realized that it was epidemic levels, and yeah, it definitely freaks you out a little bit, and reminds you to be careful.
This is Amanda Glensky, District Wire News.
Universities across the country are seeing an increase in graduate school applications, and the poor economy may be to blame. Admissions advisors say they aren't planning on boosting the class sizes to accommodate the increase in interest. Reporter Lindsay Hall has more.
With the current state of the economy, college students aren't ready to dive into the job market.
I thought that I was going to try and get into an event planning firm, but at this point there's no jobs out there for me.
So instead, they're considering graduate school.
I wanted to delay and just figure some stuff out with my life, so I just came to grad school.
An opportunity that used to be reserved for those looking to continue their education after receiving work experience is quickly becoming an option for recent graduates. Director of Graduate Admissions at George Washington University's Business School says these undergraduates with little to no work experience could face some difficulties.
So it's not that they're just competing against other undergrads looking to go straight to business school. They're also competing with people with 3 to 5 years of professional work experience, leaving their positions or potentially being laid off from their positions and returning to school.
Current graduate students who don't have work experience say they do feel they're at a disadvantage to their peers who have had jobs and are returning to school.
There are students out there who have worked for 5-6 years and clearly have an advantage over me.
Despite this disadvantage, graduate programs throughout the D.C. area are seeing an increase in applicants. American University School of Public Affairs has seen a 40% increase in applications this year.
Our degrees prepare people to go into the federal government, so these are careers that will prepare you for sectors that really do have jobs right now.
Test preparation company Kaplan says they've seen a 45% increase in student interest in graduate schools over the last 6 months. This has been Lindsay Hall for District Wire News.
Kitchens that provide food to low-income people are trying to work around the higher food prices. The DC Central Kitchen has teamed up with local farmers to buy discounted vegetables. The kitchen has also cut back on the number of times it's making certain dishes, whose ingredients have increased in price. The kitchen's 5,000 clients are now eating macaroni and cheese less often because the average price of cheddar cheese is 12% higher per pound than it was 12 months ago.
Metro's Board of Directors is working on a list of projects to ensure federal funding from President Obama's economic stimulus plan. Rita Galina reports.
In this time of economic hardship, the Board of Directors at the WAMTA want to be eligible for federal funding. While ridership is up in the district, Metro is working with local government officials to create a funding plan. The initiative includes expanding security systems and disaster recovery for the population of 3.4 million people it serves.
So in the plan is equipment repair and maintenance.
Metro riders also hope to see a change. The funding would aid in much-needed improvements on the Metro system that serves 86 stations and 106 miles of track.
I would like to see the Metro running 24/7, number one. I think it should be. And just improvement with inside the cars, you know.
I don't know, maybe more drivers and trains so that they have less time in the slower hours.
Due to the budget shortfall, Metro is considering cutting hundreds of jobs in both train and bus service. Reporting from Washington, D.C., this is Rita Galina.
A new plan to make D.C. more tourist-friendly isn't getting such a friendly reception from D.C. residents. The National Park Service wants to put up signs on the National Mall. The new plan would replace the signs that are up right now with a more organized system. The idea is to make it easier for people to find their way to the memorials. But some say places like the Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument are icons and don't need to be labeled. The plan would cost $2.2 million.
The tallest building in the U.S. will no longer be named the Sears Tower, following a deal between the London-based Willis Group Holdings and the real estate investment group that owns the Sears Tower. The tower will change its name to the Willis Tower. Along with the naming rights, Willis Group Holdings is moving more than 500 employees, including 6 local offices, into the 110-story building by late this summer. AU men's basketball are going dancing. The Eagles are set to play the Villanova Wildcats this Thursday. Students at American University have been standing in line since 7 a.m. today for tickets. We've got a full report straight ahead.
And Virginia's Department of Transportation is closing 25 rest stops by 2010, causing concern for drivers who need a place to stop and truck drivers who need a place to sleep.